Hello, hello, hello. How is everyone doing? It's raining here in Los Angeles. That's my trench coat. And honestly, it's actually a little bit cold here in the studio today. So I'm wearing my trench coat. I feel like a detective, which honestly feels pretty accurate for me. I really am feeling myself today. But hello, how is everyone doing? It's Tuesday, December 19th. We're really entering the holiday season. Happy holidays to everyone. And honestly, it doesn't have to be a happy holidays at all. I know holidays can be tough for everyone, including myself. So, happy holidays is such an interesting slogan. Like what does that even really necessarily mean? Are we supposed to just be like happy once it's the holidays? I don't think human emotions necessarily work that way. But it's so nice to see everyone here. I had a very strange 24 hours. I've been having weird dreams in general, to be quite honest with you guys. Um, but I've definitely been dealing with flashbacks of my time in Hollywood. And, with all of this coming out, I mean, I feel like it's more pea season than it is holiday season. You know what I mean? Like, it just seems like so many different survivors, whistleblowers, etc., are really feeling encouraged to come forward and tell their stories. And it's really, I'm taking a moment to fully process it, to be quite honest with you, because, I was protesting in the streets every Thursday about this, especially about institutions, that were covering this up. And it was really hard to get people to show up physically. And it took a lot of work. And I got a lot of eye rolls. And also, a lot of people thought, is this a conspiracy theory? You know? And, now fast forward, since the New York window opened up, the look back window in California as well, where we're really seeing a lot coming up. And specifically when it came to Cassie, I really think Cassie and P. Diddy really opened the floodgates, honestly. And her complaint was so, damning that it really turned the whole industry upside down. And I really want to say, even as a survivor here right now, I can't stop thinking about Cassie. I can't stop thinking about Cassie's lawsuit. And obviously, it was settled within 24 hours. And the details in that complaint were honestly everything that's behind me. I'm sitting in front of it. I've been shouting it from the rooftops for such a long time. And, with e-predators, every other Friday, we've been doing now a podcast club. It used to be a book club for Britney Spears' incredible book. And now it's a podcast club where we're listening to Jeanette McCurdy's Hard Feelings. And the first episode of Hard Feelings is her talking about how she really gets triggered when people mention iCarly or mention Nickelodeon or mention anything that she did while she was a child star. And it kind of took me by surprise, to be honest with you, because I don't think I've personally faced my own body, physical, mental responses to that in the ways that maybe I should, because I was talking with the incredible members here of this community, and I was telling them that there was a lot of heartbreaking aspects to creating this, e-predators, because when I was trying to get people to come and protest with me in front of these major institutions, a lot of fans would show up. And, it is really nice. I of course, really, what's the word I'm looking for? I connect with a lot of fans, honestly, of Zoe 101, specifically the ones who have listened to what I had to say about Nickelodeon and Dan Schneider, etc. I've connected with so many people because of me coming forward about this all. And at the same time, though, I had a lot of people showing up because of Zoe 101, because of Nickelodeon, and not necessarily knowing what I was doing. E-Predators isn't part of Zoe 101. It's not part of Nickelodeon. It's my own thing that I've created for myself. It's advocacy work for others, but it's something that is me. It's not has nothing to do with me being a child star. And I would kind of get down about myself a little bit, where I would think, wow, maybe people don't care about survivors. You know, the majority of people that are showing up are more interested in asking me about Jamie Lynn Spears or Dan Schneider, which I understand. It's not like I don't understand. It was just sometimes a hard pill to swallow, in the sense where I just didn't know if what I was saying to the world was being heard, And I felt like it was only being heard when I was speaking about Dan Schneider specifically. When I would speak about Dan Schneider and Nickelodeon, it seemed like a lot of people were there to support that. But then when I would tweet specific things and show up to these institutions, etc., there was a little bit of a lack of that type of support. And it would make me feel a little bit bummed out sometimes. And when I was listening to Jeanette McCurdy talk about that when she was doing her book tour, for example, and when she would hear people at random heckle about iCarly, etc., it would make her feel a specific way, because she wanted people to see who she was now. Who am I now? And some days I feel like that. Like, does anyone really see who I am now? And what I've been saying, even when it doesn't have to do with Dan Schneider? And it's hard. But now at the same time, we're seeing so much coming out. So much coming out. And first of all, I also want to say hello to everybody here in the chat. Thanks to all the mods here. Jay, I see Kid here. I see Nat. I see Becca. I see Marissa. I see Andrea. I see Juan, Angela. You guys, this community is so important to me. And honestly, I don't think that I would be able to do this type of advocacy work if it wasn't for this amazing community. It really, even when I'm like, I don't know if I could get triggered again and like do this, I think of the community and then I'm like, okay, I could do this. Like, at least they're there and they're listening and we're building something. And so honestly, if it wasn't for this community, I don't think I would be able to do any of this work, because it's hard work to do. And survivors, especially in the entertainment industry, have been screaming from the rooftops about this issue. Which is predators run Hollywood. They run it. To be quite honest with you, predators run a lot of different things, but from my own personal experience, Hollywood. And I've seen it, sadly, for myself, time and time and time again. I don't know how I survived, honestly. Even today, I was watching a video about Orlando Brown. And I don't know if anyone's been hearing about that. Orlando Brown talking about P. Diddy. And I was watching a video about him. And it kind of gave me this out-of-body experience where I was like, am I okay? Am I okay? Because they were talking about him in this way that was a little bit demeaning and, about his struggles, etc. And so many child stars are dealing with the struggle. And it's a very real thing. And, I dip in and out of it some days, where I'm feeling very depressed or I have a lot of anxiety and I am worried, about my past and I don't want to think about it because it kind of cripples me in a lot of ways. And I had to check in with myself, when you're a parent, when you're showering, it's really your only alone time. And so a lot of realizations happen for me when I'm showering. And I just was like, am I okay? You know? And I'm okay. But I had to like check in with myself because all of these people coming forward about the predatory behavior in Hollywood specifically, I've sadly been experienced it. I'm a victim of it, you know? And not by one either. Not one. It's many. Many, 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 many. And, there's one in particular that I am very scared of. And, I sit here every single day and I'm so proud of every survivor that has been coming forward, especially against these extremely powerful individuals. Extremely powerful. When it comes to P. Diddy, when it comes to, Epic Records, Ellie Reed, Jamie Foxx, the list goes on. Jonathan Majors. And there's one person in particular, that I can't it out because of the power dynamic. And I sit here now every single day with this community and I'm encouraging survivors to feel empowered. And I just want to remind this community that even me, who is all about empowering survivors, feels scared too. And it's not easy. It's really not easy coming forward about your story, and let alone an extremely powerful Hollywood figure that no one has really spoken about. And so it's been a little bit triggering. I'm not going to lie. It's been a little bit triggering for me just seeing all of these incredible. I'm feeling super empowered, and then I'm also feeling like, I'm really scared. I'm really scared, and it's scary. And that's why this channel is really important to me, because I want people out there to see a survivor. A survivor who even feels very empowered most days still feels scared to say about something that happened to them when it comes to a extremely powerful figure. I mean, extremely powerful figure. And hearing about the parties when it comes to P. Diddy, I know about those parties. I know about parties in Hollywood and what those parties can do to someone and what those parties were all about for the person throwing them. I've seen it. I've experienced it, sadly, as like a teenager. And it's hard keeping your trauma inside. Some days you feel like you're going to just go and scream it because you don't want to hold it in anymore. And then other days, you're scared. And you don't know what they're going to do to you. And when it comes to these extremely powerful individuals, they have all the resources. They have all the resources. They got the really powerful lawyer. They got, the PR, crisis managers. They got the bots. They got the fandom. And, I go, what do I have? Not the same. Not the same as them. And it's really, really scary. And so, when I was thinking about these P. Diddy parties, for example, I was having flashbacks. And, these parties are very real in Hollywood. Each one's different, I'm sure. I think, obviously, each alleged predator is different. But the intentions that go into these parties are not good intentions. And there is always a horrific imbalance of power that the predator, for example, is very, 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 very much aware of. Very much aware of. And they exploit and abuse that power that they have. I mean, I wish I can say it today. I don't know if I can say it today, but it's brewing for me. Definitely brewing for me. And the reason why I'm mentioning this right now is because I'm feeling empowered by survivors. Personally, I'm feeling extremely empowered by them. And, that's why I like to say that survivors do inspire. They don't conspire. The reason why someone else comes forward after another, because they're inspired and they feel empowered to do it. Because it's scary being the first one. That's another thing a lot of people don't necessarily talk about, is how scary it is to be the first one that comes forward. Because predatorology, we were talking about yesterday, they really smear the first person who comes forward as someone who's crazy, doesn't know what they're talking about, who wants money, who wants all these things, and that they're not telling the truth. And then when a bunch of people come forward, then it's a conspiracy. Then the first person is the one who's the ringleader, of the rest. And so either way, as a survivor, it's scary. But I must say that when you're the first person to come forward, it's really scary. It is really, 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 really scary. And I've come forward about a lot of different individuals in Hollywood that, in my opinion, are predators. But this one in particular scares me. And so it reminds me of how incredible these survivors are that are going up against these extremely powerful figures. And referencing Christian KEYES, who we're going to be talking about today, to see the victim blaming that was going into him coming forward on Twitter was just a serious heartbreak for me. Because they were still, he didn't say the name. He apparently, let the statute go. All the things that a survivor is afraid of being called on, which is that they want something from the predator. You know, he was like, I let the statue go. You know, this is about, you know, justice. This is about what happened. And it's always about that. And I want to remind everyone out there, Christian chose the ways in which he came forward, right? But you must remember that Christian did not name the billionaires that allegedly did that to him. He didn't mention them. And I want to remind people why that is the case and why people choose sometimes a civil route. And a civil route gives you litigation privilege so that whatever you are saying in that is in that lawsuit, you are technically more protected, legally speaking, than if you were to just go onto Instagram, no civil suit, no police report, etc., and say what happened. Oh, welcome to Chef's Kiss, Shawnee. Thank you so much for being here. And people forget that, you know? People forget that. And every single survivor has their own way of speaking out. And we must, as a society, allow each survivor to choose how they go about it. And obviously people are starting to think, who is it, and going down this list, you know, and trying to figure it out. You know, I've definitely tweeted about some of my things, you know, and then even had to like delete because you get so scared of the exposure. You know, some minutes you feel really, really ready. You feel really ready. And then the next minute you're not ready. And when I went to go watch Christian KEYES, Adam, welcome to the dinner party. Welcome, welcome, welcome. When I went to go watch Christian KEYES' video today on Instagram, I noticed that his page is no longer there. Page is gone. And I don't know if anyone noticed this with Britney Spears as well. Like, and I'm not speaking for her because I never, you know, no one should ever do that, especially when it comes to Britney Spears. And though at the same time, when we see Britney Spears really speak up for herself and speak out, for example, you know, all of a sudden it gets, you know, sometimes the post gets deleted, or she puts her profile where you can't see her Instagram profile anymore. And that's a survivor right there. It's because you're constantly oscillating where you feel like you can speak your truth. And then at other moments you feel the PTSD and you feel scared again. And you go into this fight or flight mode and you retract. And it's very, very common for survivors. Very common. And so when I saw Christian KEYES, you know, his Instagram was gone. His video is gone. I went, I know that feeling. Because you feel really good in that moment to finally say what happened to you. And then you start to see the trolls. You start to see the victim blaming, nitpicking how you chose to come forward. You start to see people thinking who it is, who it's not, if they believe you or not. And I'm not saying this is what necessarily happened to Christian, but I've seen this with other survivors, including myself, where you oscillate. And I'm in that oscillation phase currently. You know, and then you have to remember that when you are a survivor of multiple predators, then it's, is she the problem? Is he the problem? Are they the problem? They're the problem. How could it happen so many times to that one person? Oh, Marissa gifted somebody a membership. That's so sweet. Oh, wait. Oh, that's so sweet. I think my mom took the membership. That is so, wait, that's amazing. Mom, did you even know that you did that? That cheered me up.
No,
That really.
It's automatic.
Oh, it's automatic. That's so sweet. My mom's been wanting to hear what I've been doing with the members. So Anyways, you know, then you have to deal with, by the way, in Hollywood, a lot of survivors are survivors of multiple predators because Hollywood is full of predators, legit full of them. They are everywhere and they're so scary. Like, they're really scary. Really, 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 really scary. Not only are they scary because of what they did to you and how they got away with it, and they probably won't ever face any consequences, honestly. Not just because of that, but because of the power dynamic in Hollywood. So many of these men have so much power. You don't understand. Some people don't understand. So much power. Even those, for example, like I know some survivors who there's a thing called like mitigation, right? And some survivors, David gifted 20. That's so sweet. Oh my God, David, that's so sweet. Grab them, grab them, grab them. That's so sweet, David. Thank you for doing that. Thank you for doing that. It's so sweet. What was I saying? I got distracted by the kindness in the chat. Oh, how scary the predators are and mitigation. So people don't know this. Some survivors that don't want anyone to know about what happened, but they do want some type of reparation. And you have to remember, when it comes to these statutes, sometimes a survivor's only path towards justice is a financial situation where so many survivors want to get therapy. I want more therapy. Everyone deserves a lot of therapy, honestly. We all need therapy, you know? And when you're a survivor, you suffer from a lot of PTSD. And, you know, the financial aspect of a civil suit is repair, sadly, because the money's never going to erase what happened to you. It's not. Money can't do that. Even though these predators like to pretend that's what it's all about. God, survivors wish that it was that easy, but it's not. It's not. And so survivors will sometimes get lawyers and they will reach out to these powerful individuals, lawyer, and ask to mitigate it, which basically means, okay, you know, these are the allegations that my client has, and we don't want to make this public. We would like to settle this privately, and we don't want anyone to know. Because there are a lot of survivors out there, for example, that do not want anyone to know what happened to them. Hence Jane Doe. Jane Doe, Jane Doe, Jane Doe, or John Doe, John Doe, John Doe, John Doe. And that has to do with not wanting people to know. But what's very scary about these mitigation aspects is these survivors will reach out to these powerful men, for example. They're lawyers. Not they won't. Usually their lawyer does. So the survivor's lawyer will reach out to the predator's lawyer. And a lot of these predators are very narcissistic. And they have these lawyers that try to bully survivors into thinking they don't have a case. That they don't have a case. And either sometimes a survivor will go, wow, well, if nothing's going to happen here, I'm not willing to take the civil route. So I'm just going to fold. Like, this is not worth my, PTSD, etc. I'm not going to go this route. So some survivors never end up even going to civil. Some end up becoming Jane Does. But what is very scary about these mitigation routines that happen is that apparently they're not fully confidential. So now, and this happened with what's his name, who was the director of Crash. I forget what his name is, but he was a Scientologist and he was found guilty, or, the jurors, whatever, civil. What happened to him was very interesting because he tried to paint it that the survivor was wanting money from him because
Haggis?
Haggis, yes, Haggis. Haggis. So he tried to paint it that this survivor was wanting money from him. I think it was $9 million to be exact. And so he was like, this is a money grab. This is that. You know, she sued him. So he declined the settlement situation of $9 million to keep it quiet. He apparently, allegedly, denied that. And then when she sued him, he went on this whole spree that she was wanting his money. Then, allegedly, from what I read, a lot of women came forward saying that he had a pattern of this behavior after she sued him. And you know what happened? He ends up obviously telling the judge, oh, she wanted $9 million from me. And it's like, listen, that's not what it's about. It's called mitigation. And it's about trying to keep it quiet, which is honestly almost protecting you as well. But you were such a narcissist that you declined that privacy. You declined the privacy. And you thought, what, you were going to win. And honestly, he did not. He did not. But what's very interesting about this, you guys, is that the judge granted the survivor $10 million. And I don't think that was unintentional. That was to send a message to Haggis that you tried to throw that mitigation situation in her face. Well, I'm going to kind of throw it in your face, that would have been a deal for you, Haggis. Now you're going to have to spend $1 more million on this survivor.
I see 7.5 million.
Was it 7.5? Weird. I remember it being 9 and 10. I have to look into it again. But I know that the mitigation, what she was asking for, was exactly a few, like, it was like 1 million, $500,000 less than what the judge ended up granting her. And it was, I think it was a Hollywood Reporter article that me and Jacob were reading.
Hollywood Reporter.
Okay, yeah. So Jacob and I were reading and we were like, oh my God, like, wow, what a message that sent. And so here we go. Like, even when the survivor's trying to be private about it, then they're blamed for how they're going about it privately, you know? And then if like someone like Christian KEYES is going on Instagram, not naming names, but wanting to tell his story, there's a blame there as well. Why don't you just tell the name so that we're not accusing random, you know, queer individuals? And then you're like, oh shit, like, it's so heavy. It's so heavy. It's so heavy. And so, you know, the point of all of this is Marissa. Oh my God, Marissa gifted a membership. You're so kind, Marissa. Yeah, Brits, this guy's name is Haggis. Sheep's bladder stuffed with, wait. Becca, you're amazing. Thank goodness for you here, honestly, Becca. You're amazing. So, you know, the reason why I'm mentioning this all today is because, you know, I've worked for a lot of powerful individuals like Dan Schneider, and I've worked for, because when it comes to Christian KEYES, for example, you know, Christian KEYES is coming forward about someone, if I remember correctly, we'll look at this video a little bit, but if I remember correctly, it was somebody he was working with. And I was working with this person too. This person was my boss. Person was my boss. And boy, is that a horrific imbalance of power, right? And I was 18. This happens in Hollywood. And they have been getting away with it for a very, very long time. Mine, for example, is still technically getting away with it, right? There are so many survivors out there, survivors of Hollywood specifically, that we don't even know about, that are like me, waiting, and don't know when they can do it or if they can do it. So, I just want to say that's how I'm feeling. I'm feeling just very inspired and scared at the same time. And I want survivors out there to see this. And I also want the world to see this. Like, this is how it goes. Like, I know what happened, and I know who this person is, and I know the imbalance of power, and I know, and I know, and I know my truth. But when it's someone so powerful, it's scary. It is so fucking scary. And I've done this. I've been able to call out this person, this person. And then when one person is more powerful, so scary. Like, I'm scared. Scared. I'm scared. I'm scared. But when I see people like Christian Keys, or I see Cassie, I see these individuals speaking up against billionaires, speaking their truth to power, I get this much closer to saying it. And this is why survivors everywhere deserve the respect that they deserve, because it encourages others to feel a little bit safer when it comes to sharing their truth. And they're honestly heroes. Like, I've never felt closer. And it's because of survivors currently that are coming forward. And yeah, so that's kind of my spiel. I don't know when it's going to happen. But I just wanted to be honest with the community today and share how I'm feeling. You guys are so kind. Yeah, Survivors United. And this is what I'm really trying to build here. Because, survivors don't necessarily ever have the resources that these extremely powerful predators do. Alleged predators do. And so what is the weakness in the wall for them? And what I've come to realize is numbers. Like the Me Too movement. That really spooked a whole lot of predators in Hollywood, didn't it? Is how many individuals stood up and said, yeah, me too. And then started naming the names, and then seeing how a whole bunch of other survivors stood up for the other survivors. Because, yeah, there are a lot of predators in Hollywood, for example. There are tons of predators in Hollywood. But sadly, there are more survivors. There are more survivors in and out of Hollywood. And if we can band together, one of us, all of us, that used to be the first slogan. Before it was power to survivors, I used to go onto the megaphone and say, one of us, all of us, because that's what I wanted to hear. So that these predators knew if there was one, get ready for all of us. Get ready. Get ready. And there is power in numbers. I think, honestly, it's sometimes just one individual who speaks up, and then the community comes together, and that's how social change happens. That's how social change happens. The community builds that social change. And I really do believe that survivorhood is powerful. I really do believe that. And there are so many different types of survivors. There's DV, SA, so many different types of survivors. And I think they also like that we're all kind of divided. Like, I'm a DV survivor, I'm a child SA survivor, and then we all kind of get into our little, sections. But how powerful would we be if we were all together and united against these fuckers? Against these fuckers. Because for me, I thought I was going to stay quiet forever until I had children. Then I was like, no way am I ever going to be silent about this, because I do not want any of my children to step into any industry the way that it is now. I'm going to be worried every night, every day as a survivor. Are they okay? What's happening? Checking in. Did you see anything? Survivor PTSD. And it's real. I think that paranoia is actually very real. Nat, if you do name them, you have many of us who support you. Your voice matters so much. Thanks, Nat. Thanks, Nat. Really appreciate that. I really appreciate that. But yeah, I think I would still be silent if it wasn't for having children, just because then I was looking at my children, looking at the future of these industries, and sometimes the justice system doesn't work out for survivors. Sadly. Sometimes it doesn't. And what are the ways, though, that if we can't get our own specific justice, I think what I've learned personally is helping other survivors collectively get justice has been just as fulfilling. And that's what I want to encourage survivors that feel especially hopeless, like me some days, is that we can make a change, at least for if it comes to the future. The future. To prevent potential victims. We can do it. And it's just about us banding together and sticking up for one another and supporting one another, just in the same way that these predators have their little predator club and they stick up for each other and promote one another and protect one another. We got to start doing the same. And we deserve to do the same. They don't deserve that shit, but we do. We do. And so, this is what this community is about, is showing these predators out there that watch out. Survivors are uniting. And when they do unite, they will never be divided. And that might be a little bit of a nightmare because you can't control that. And predators are really frazzled when they can't control something. That you cannot control. And so this community is amazing. And, thank you for everyone that's here. We're going to go into Christian keys. Obviously, it's the holiday, season. And, oh, Josh, this is so sweet. Wait, I have to just make this bigger. Josh, that's so sweet. Look at these gifts. It really is the holiday season. You guys are all so amazing. This community makes me so happy, honestly. Even when I'm feeling down, you guys just make it a lot better. So thank you. And so obviously, I'm not even going to go into the full thing, but if you, are wondering, ePredators, it's pretty hard for something like ePredators to get even sponsors, right? And I'm going to be very choosy about what sponsors even want to be on this platform for obviously many reasons. And this platform is completely, community built. We're building it together. And we don't have any corporate money, sketchy, corrupt corporate money in here. This is the community that's building this. And so I just want to remind everyone that's here to just, like this video, if you can, share this video, subscribe, become a member. We have 3 amazing tiers and we're doing such incredible things together. We have the Munchies, the dinner party, and Chef's Kiss. The dinner party gives you access to the Discord. And all 3 of the members. No, I'm not. I'm just talking. I'm just talking to the camera. No, you're totally fine. But every single tier on YouTube and also for the Patreon members, every other Friday we're doing Social Change Now. And I just want to say this has been one of my favorite parts about this community is reflecting and finding our own personal voices when it comes to social change. And building this community together and highlighting our own unique voices and our talents. And it's been really beautiful. It's been really, really beautiful. And this is for all members and it's every other Friday. And I can't recommend this enough. And then also we're doing Hard Feelings with Jeanette McCurdy, her podcast. And that's really been exciting. Like I said earlier, it's kind of changed even my life in the last couple days, just reminding myself, wow, you know, what are my own triggers around being a child star, and have I really faced those things fully, etc. But also just about hard feelings and how to deal with them when they come up. And so that's for Chef's Kiss members. And so if you're thinking about that, the community is really amazing. We're going to be doing our own voice notes, etc., and maybe even sharing them with one another. And so I just want to say thank you to all the members. And another way of supporting the channel is the Patreon. We have a bunch of tiers. I'm not even going to go through all of them today, but I do want to point out the significant difference when it comes to the $22 one and the $33 is the Healing Circle. And the Healing Circle we just recently added. It will be once a month where we have an expert in like somatic healing, breath exercises, and I thought it would be nice to offer that to the community so that we can balance these energies and, you know, not always be dealing with only just the heavy stuff and give us a breath, just a breath. Survivors need a breath. Okay, so that's that, and I'll go into the merchandise later because I want to just get into everything. And thank you all for listening to me and hearing what I had to say. And with that being said, I do want to say before we go into Christian Keys is that apparently this film Miller's Girl came out. Can you put a 1 in the chat if you have heard about Miller's Girl, and 2 if you have not? Because I'm pretty appalled by this film that is coming out with Jenna Ortega. And it is extremely problematic. It is extremely problematic for so many reasons, and I just want to quickly talk about it because I know that a lot of people, a lot of survivors. Christopher, thank you so much. I'm getting emotional just hearing you get emotional, Alexa, and I can understand why you're getting emotional. These are very hard things to talk about, and you know just the right words to say. Thank you so much, Christian. That's really sweet, Christian. Thank you so much.
What's the movie called again?
It's called Miller's Girl. Thank you so much, Christian. You're so awesome. Okay, so we got some 2s. We got some 1s. Okay, we got mostly 2s. Okay, so yeah, I didn't honestly know what the hell this was until I saw Pave, and I don't know if anyone follows Pave. It's a great page. They're a survivor-led org, etc., and they made a post specifically about this film. And so here's the caption. Let's read this really quickly. So it says,
Are you showing this?
I am. If you want to show, yeah. You can show my screen.
I can't see your screen on my screen for some reason right now.
Oh. Blackout. Oh, is it not showing?
It's not picking up your screen.
Oh, that's so weird.
It might be the little dongle.
You think I should disconnect it and reconnect it?
Yeah, you can. If you want to just send me the link in Discord, I can just open it.
Yeah. Oh, weird that it's not. That it's. Oh, it did it. Okay, good. It was the dongle. The dongle. It's always the dongle. Okay, so here it is. So here's Jenna Ortega. Here it says, last week, the trailer for the upcoming movie Miller's Girl, starring Jenna Ortega and Martin Freeman, was released. The movie's official description is a creative writing assignment yields complex results between a teacher and his talented student. Not only does the trailer portray and romanticize the tension between the student and teacher, a problematic power dynamic, but it more problematically portrays tired R myths. Movies and TV shows display false allegations of SA more often than they actually happen in real life, perpetuating the myth that people lie about. To get back at someone else makes it much harder for real survivors to be believed. And yeah, why make this fucking film? There are so many other films to make, like actual survivor stories, by the way, like actual stories where it's about survivors, and there's already so much stigma around being a survivor. Like, really? And it's not by coincidence that Hollywood picks this one up. That's because there's predators everywhere in Hollywood. So they saw this script and they were like, you know what? We like this one. We'll fund this one, in my opinion, because it keeps up this stigma that survivors are like, didn't get something, and they're like getting back. And by the way, the percentage of reported essay, et cetera, that has been false reports is literally 0.5%. 0.5%. And it's like, also, if you even look at the statistics, 1 in every female, 1 in, 5 for males, the list goes on. What does that mean? That means this is a serious issue. Why would we highlight the 0.5%? It's extremely problematic, and it's not surprising to me, which is why I wanted to bring this up, that Hollywood is backing this. This helps that whole, oh, this survivor wants something. This survivor wants something, looking for something. That's it. And of course, Hollywood's picking this up. So let's go through a few of these slides really quickly and just see what it's about. So it says, the trailer for the upcoming film Miller's Girl was released last week. We got the description of the teacher-student. Jenny Ortega plays a talented young student who is given special treatment by her professor, played by Martin Freeman. As displayed by the trailer, Ortega's character makes an advance on her professor, which he seemingly rejects. Okay, but often than not, it's the opposite way. A friend is then shown telling her to ruin his life. Great! Let's make a film about this. We don't need this. We don't need this because this is actually not common enough. And does this really help the movement for survivors? Does this help this? Fuck no. It actually helps the whole predator narrative, which is survivors are trying to ruin their life, etc. And I was shocked. It's a female who wrote this film. And, that's the thing here when it comes to, Hollywood, is that I noticed that she didn't have any other projects before this that I could find. And you know what? This is my opinion, and I'm not saying this is totally true. But at the same time, the thought I had in my mind was the reason why Hollywood is backing this script of hers is because, it helps the narrative in Hollywood. It continues the cover-up of SA in Hollywood. It covers up for the predators. Actually, also in the world, not just Hollywood. But you have to understand this has to do with Hollywood, and that's why I'm saying that. It helps the narrative. And here we have a female director, a female writer, and you would think they would be more sensitive to these things. But honestly, when I think about it, it's very hard for female directors, female writers, etc., to get into Hollywood because it is a predator club. And unless you are also a predator, which, by the way, this is not gender specific. This is not gender specific. Anyone can be a predator. It just so happens that boys are more encouraged to be them. And so it's not surprising that this is her first and only film, honestly. It really fits into this narrative of survivors trying to ruin these predators' lives. So the trailer ends with Ortega's character sitting in an office, seemingly about to make a report that something happened between them. Why is the trailer for Miller's Girl problematic? Because it perpetuates the myth of false allegations. It is a widely held stigma that SA allegations are made in order to retaliate against someone else, which makes it hard for them to come forward. Of course. 2% of reported SA are confirmed to be false. So here it's 2%. But there is another statistic of it being 0.5%. 25% of the time an SA allegation is made in film, it is false. So 2% even if it wasn't, so even if this one's more accurate than 0.5%, which I'm going to have to pull that up, 2%. That is a crumb. That is a crumb. And so how is it possible that all of these predators, all these alleged predators are like, oh, this is a lie? All of these people are 2%? That's not even statistically possible or probable, dude. It's not even probable. There's no way that all of these allegations fit into the 2%. There's just no way. So, this is why the stigma around SA survivors needs to change. And it's going to be through the community, not perpetuating this myth, this stigma, but actually going up against it and standing up for survivors, or at least, even if you want to be a critical individual, and which I understand, I'm not even blaming that. And you're like, I want to look at the whole thing. Okay, sure. But what you have to remember is that everything you say in regards to the survivor coming forward is sending a message to all of the other potential survivors that are thinking about coming forward. It's sending a message. So it's all about creating a safe environment just for them to at least feel comfortable and safe with coming forward. And then we can see. But if we're creating an environment that discourages survivors from coming forward, that's when it gets problematic. Because survivors, I guess the ones that aren't the 2%, so ridiculous, they deserve justice, right? And are we supporting survivors' justice, or are we discouraging survivors' justice? And that's the question you have to ask yourself when you're gonna make a fucking film like this. Like, don't make this film. Think about it. Think about what is the message that it sends. So, okay, why is the trailer for Miller's Girl problematic? 2, it perpetuates the young seductress myth. It is widely held stigma that in an age gap relationship, the young woman is trying to seduce the older man. Ridiculous. In the trailer, Ortega's character is shown to be making the advances, while Freeman's character is shown to be in distress over it. Okay. Oh, wait, where'd you go? Where'd you go? Come back. All right, there. Go. Okay. And this is the thing. There are so many stigmas when it comes to survivors, like so many. There are so many stigmas. And listen, I understand that some people feel like it's empowering to show women as the initiators and not just the gatekeepers, because I know that within media, it was first women specifically were the gatekeepers in films, and then the men were the aggressors, they were the initiators. And now, since, there's different waves of feminism, people have a lot of debate about how we go about a female initiating and feeling powerful or empowered in their sexuality, right? But this is just not it, because we're still in the middle of this. Like, I'm still in the middle of trying to tell my truth about a very, very extremely powerful individual, and it's very hard for me to. And look how far I've come along. Like, I feel like I've come along pretty far, and still I'm scared. And so it's so important for society to be like, look, that's why I want to see me even here. I'm still scared. I'm still scared. And so we have to be careful of the messages that we are sending out to potential survivors everywhere. And so I thought it was important to just discuss that, because I saw some people talking about it, and I just wanted to make sure to discuss it. And I also just want to make sure, it looks like we never got. Oh, he did. Where is it? Okay, so before we go into this, so who knows one in the chat about Tyler Perry? So obviously Tyler Perry is who the internet is thinking is the billionaire that Christian KEYES is talking about in his Instagram live. And apparently there is another billionaire as well. But most people feel very, very, very sure that it's Tyler Perry. I'm like, I honestly didn't know that much about Tyler Perry. like, okay, here's another powerful man. What's his deal? And I started looking into him, and I realized that I guess it was in 2015, Tyler Perry's studios had a lawsuit against it when it came to SH. And it wasn't Tyler Perry, but it was someone who was, working on the set and allegedly did X, Y, and Z. And the reason why I found this to be very interesting is because it's not very often that you hear, this person their name being thrown around in this way. And then you look up their lawsuits and you find a lawsuit that definitely looks like it fits the allegations that Christian KEYES was talking about in his Instagram Live. And that just gave me a serious red flag. Like, even one lawsuit about this, I'm already like, okay, what's the deal here? And then you see Christian KEYES and people pointing the finger at Tyler Perry. And what does that mean? What does that mean, honestly? And what I found even more peculiar is that Christian KEYES hasn't said, like, for example, on Twitter, when I was tweeting about the news that I got about Jamie Lynn Spears, and I said, wow, I learned some news about Jamie Lynn Spears and Dan Schneider, which I never heard before, and this was like mind-blowing to me. When I saw someone comment in the Twitter thread saying, oh, Dan's, Jamie's daddy, whatever, baby daddy, I was like, immediately, once I saw that, I was like, absolutely not. Like, I want to shut that down immediately, But it's so weird that Christian KEYES hasn't said, listen, guys, it ain't Tyler Perry. Like, I understand everyone's thinking that, and I want to be responsible, and it's not Tyler Perry. And I'm not saying he even has to do this, but the fact that it's everywhere on the internet and people are coming out of everywhere supporting, Christian KEYES. And then obviously there are other trolls, but people are supporting him and thinking it's Tyler Perry. Veronica, Alexa, I'd love to hear you talk about Pretty Little Liars, the impact that show. Yes, I've heard about this. I can do that. I can definitely do that. Please put it in the Reddit just to remind me. Put it in the Reddit. So I just find it very interesting because I feel like he has the opportunity to at least shut that down. And it's very strange that neither him nor Tyler Perry has said anything when it's come to Christian KEYES allegations about this billionaire, 2 billionaires, etc. And remember, I don't know if anyone's watched this. We're going to watch a little bit today. But Christian KEYES, what I really appreciated about Christian KEYES, incredible, strong, courageous Instagram Live, was that he kept using the word predator. And it was just so wonderful to hear survivors naming it how it is, because survivors have been taught for so long to say perpetrator. And I want to just say today, for those who don't understand, like, why perpetrator? Perpetrator was used because it means like a one-time offense. Like, it kind of gives them slack. It gives them more slack. And an alleged predator or a predator is somebody who most likely has a pattern of this behavior. Like, it's showing up in other areas of their life. And remember, a predator does not mean they are an SA predator, right? That doesn't mean that. Predatory behavior shows up in many, many different ways. Politicians be predators. They can exploit resources, exploit, countries, languages, you name it. Anything is on the table for a predator. Sometimes, though, a symptom or some type of sign of a predator is SA. Because remember, a predator is not just, but just to clarify, is someone who exploits anything, honestly, ruthlessly. All about exploitation. And people don't understand that when I say also there's so many predators in Hollywood, I'm not even just talking about SA. I'm talking about all different types of predators, all different kinds. And it's a whole network. And the whole goal is to protect this predatory behavior, this exploitation, this not caring about human life, exploiting things ruthlessly for their own personal gain. It's ABUSE of all kinds. And it's operating at all times, honestly, when it comes to Hollywood. All the time. And so when I heard him saying that word and saying it multiple times, it was just felt good, because survivors are so afraid of using that word because of what it implies. And we always hear the word predator when it came to the Catholic Church, and you think of a PDF file, right? When you think of predator, but that's not, the education is changing, and it's so awesome that survivors are finding the proper words, language, etc., to name these things, because then the public understands what we're going up against. You know how scary it is to go up against a predator? They're a predator. Think T-Rex. Think any like scary predator in your mind in the animal kingdom. That's it. It's scary. It's David and Goliath. It's whatever you want to call it, but it's scary as fuck, honestly. And so it was really incredible to hear him saying that, and also saying that this is a problem in Hollywood, and very brave, because there is so much stigma when it comes to males in Hollywood being essayed and SH and, you know, all of that. There's so much stigma. And that's why when it comes to the sign here, survivorhood is powerful. You know, this is all genders here, because, you know, there are so many survivors out there. This is not about gender. And I want to make sure that every single survivor out there feels empowered to come forward with their story, because we each deal with our own personal stigmas from society. And so really, really brave of him. So anyways, so when I saw Tyler Perry being mentioned a whole bunch, I looked into it. I found that there was this lawsuit in 2015, and there's a lot of debate about this. Like, the one guy just came forward on a YouTube channel saying blah, 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 blah. And then, you know, there was also blaming when it came to the person who sued. But I just want to give some background, because it is important to note that Tyler Perry's studios has been sued for SH in the past. So it says here, a former employee of Tyler Perry Studios says in court he was SH'd. Oh, yeah. Here. Can you see it now? Is that good?
I'd even move it over a little bit more and make it like one size bigger if you can.
Yeah, I can. Oh, but I don't want my... There. Oh, now it's two. Let me just put it there. Okay. So, wait, let me move it. Joshua Soul, I guess is his name, a former production assistant, filed a $5 million lawsuit against Tyler Perry, Tyler Perry Studios, and Brett Hendricks in the Atlanta federal court on May 13th. The lawsuit also accuses Perry of libel. Tyler Perry Studios is located in Southwest Atlanta, where the entertainment mogul's television shows, such as For Better or Worse and Love Thy Neighbor, are produced. In the 17-page complaint, Soul claims Hendrick, his supervisor, subjected him to verbal and physical SH. According to the complaint, Soul was obligated to work in an atmosphere that was hostile to males. And this is what's so interesting, too. Now, we always hear girls, women, you know, like when it comes to, because of the stigma, I actually think a lot more boys and men, you know, or individuals that identify as men would come forward if they felt more supported by society. But that's an issue. But we usually hear about women, you know, and when it came to Christian KEYES and him being a male, and then his connection with Tyler Perry, and then I find this lawsuit, and the lawsuit's also about a guy, you know, you're like, is this necessarily a coincidence? I don't know. It's weird, though. It's definitely weird, and, you know, definitely made my little whatever, spidey senses, whatever, perk up, because it's very, very strange. So let's continue here. According to the complaint, Soul was obligated to work in an atmosphere that was hostile to males by virtue or unsolicited and unwelcome S advances, S comments, S-based comments, S innuendo, and other S-charged content. Soul alleges Hendrick, who holds the position of continuity coordinator, inappropriately Can I say this on YouTube? Now I never know. Blank him, called him baby, and told him he missed him. Hendrix made a practice of flirting with plaintiff Soul in anticipation of S favors and made personal calls and texts of a S nature to plaintiff Soul. Soul says that when he complained about Hendrix's conduct, defendants took steps to adversely impact the plaintiff's employment. This is not good. This is a common theme. We hear this all the time. According to the complaint, Soul lost seniority, was suspended and removed from the workplace in the direction of the defendants, and was arrested for no reason. Soul was later fired. The complaint says Tyler Perry Studios is in violation of Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which protects people from employment discrimination, as well as the Civil Rights Act of 1991. Defendant Tyler Perry Studios, LLC, is accordingly charged with knowledge of the sexually offensive conduct of high-level employee. The complaint says the plaintiff was subjected to a hostile work environment which altered the terms and conditions of his employment. Soul is also seeking damages for retaliation, negligent and reckless failure to provide plaintiff with a safe work environment, negligent and wrongful hiring, supervision, and retention, and goes on and it goes on. And it says a representative of Tyler Perry Studios declined to comment on the lawsuit. But very interesting, right? It only took a few, digging around, right? After seeing that Christian KEYES opens up about SH by powerful man in Hollywood, and people are not even realizing he said two. He said 2 billionaires, 2 powerful men in Hollywood. And that if we knew, he even says that if we heard the audio, because by the way, he had a spy pen. A spy pen. And he already gave the spy pen to his lawyer, to his family members, etc. So he's protected. But he says that if we heard the audio of the individual, that we would know who it was. And I thought that was weird. Like, I don't know many billionaires' voices. It's not like all of us are like, oh, that's that billionaire. They all sound the fucking same, honestly, at least to me. So the fact that he said that made me go, okay, but who is somebody who does have a distinct voice? And again, I don't know if this is Tyler Perry. I'm just looking at online and going, okay, this is the common pointing of the finger. This is what people are saying. This is who people are talking about. And when I just Google searched it just a little bit when it came to Tyler Perry, I find a lawsuit about the exact same type of allegation. That's weird. And it's male. And then it makes you think, okay, so, what's going on here? What is going on? And so I started digging some more because I'm like, okay, I want to know exactly what's going on. And then, I don't know, has anyone watched the Boondocks? I've never watched the Boondocks. But boy, is this wild. This is wild, you guys. This episode of Boondocks, we'll just watch this clip. You can show my screen. Let's just watch this, and then I want to hear what everyone thinks. This is wild. This is wild. Okay, let's go. Wait, let me make sure am I connected? Okay, good. Let's go.
BOONDOCKS episode titled Pause was removed from television, and evidence points to it was because it upset Tyler Perry. The episode features Winston Jerome, who is a parody of Tyler Perry and his Medea franchise. Winston Jerome presents his works for Christians and how he does all of this for Jesus Christ, but that's just a front. The truth is that he's the leader of a cult, and it's a way for him to indulge in homosexuality, since he's able to cross-dress, surround himself with attractive men, and in some cases kiss them. Rumors circulated that Tyler Perry threatened to sue Aaron McGruder, the creator of the Boondocks, but Tyler Perry has denied this. Rumors from an insider said that Tyler Perry contacted Turner Broadcasting, which owns the Boondocks, and they said Tyler Perry complained loudly about the episode, and even threatened to rethink his relationship with the company. After that, the episode had disappeared from broadcasting. The Boondocks episode titled Pause was removed from television, and evidence points to it was because it upset Tyler Perry. The episode features Winston Jerome, who is
not bizarre? And this happens a lot, by the way. Like, I know I saw some things. Wasn't it a Simpsons episode? There was like a Simpsons episode where Trump is like coming down an escalator, and then fast forward, the same exact scene happens, and it was like very weird. But it's always like animation. that ends up like foreseeing things. But I don't think so, because when I looked into why this episode was made was because the character that played Tyler Perry was someone who told a story about their interaction with Tyler Perry. And this is all alleged. This is allegedly. But very interesting. That episode of Boondocks is pretty weird considering what's going on right now. You know, and I wanted to be like, okay, maybe, you know, like I'm trying to look at how many billionaires there are that could be connected. But when you see all of these hints and we're still not hearing Christian Keyes say, hey, it's not Tyler Perry, I'm getting like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And so I started to dig more into it and realized, where is it? Tyler Perry apparently was not supporting unions. So regardless of all of this, I just want to say, like, I don't like this individual necessarily, because who does not support unions? Who doesn't? But apparently SAG-AFTRA even kind of said that no one could work on Tyler Perry's projects because of him not supporting the union. And that, I mean, here it says, where is it? So it says employment with an employer in equities jurisdiction if the employer has refused to bargain in good faith for an equity contract. So apparently Tyler Perry was not down with, what? His workers, his employees, his writers, etc. So that's like a little bit of a red flag for me. And, you know, there's a lot of people like this in Hollywood, honestly. He's not the only one. It doesn't necessarily mean he is who Christian Keyes is talking about. But as I would go down this rabbit hole last night, I'm going, this isn't sounding good necessarily for Tyler Perry, because it's just weird. It's just very, very, very weird. So let's dig into, do you have the, Quiet, do you have the footage? That he sent? I'm just not seeing it for some reason. I don't see it at all, actually. I'm not seeing it. Weird that it's not just in the home. Oh, here it is. I got it. Great. Okay, so here it is. Let's watch what hopefully this loads, actually. Are you not loading? Come on. Wait, don't show my screen yet, because apparently this is not loading. But
just pause and play again.
let me see. I've been doing that, but it seems like it's still giving me a problem. Bummer. Maybe it's just the internet connection. Is it playing for you? It's such a long, by the way, so Christian Keyes went live on his Instagram. It's not. Like, it won't play?
It won't play, no, it won't play.
Oh, man. Well, it says, wait, what? Maybe if I refresh this. So apparently, though, Christian Keyes goes onto Instagram. Before today, his Instagram was up. Now it has vanished. You can't go onto Christian Keyes' Instagram page. It's gone. But he uploaded over an hour long video where he is telling the world about predators in Hollywood, and that he has been having to hold this in for an extremely long time. And he finally feels like he can do it because he keeps seeing these individuals going around getting praise, etc., when they are obviously not good individuals. And it was very brave. And I wish that I can actually open this up. It's such a bummer that it's not letting me. Such a bummer. Maybe because it's so long, it's like it can't even handle it. I have no idea. It's not even letting me see my drive, you guys. It's not even, also internet seems to actually just have gone out in general, which is weird. I can't even like refresh my Gmail. Yeah, no, I can't even.
I would try unplugging that. Oh, it started for me though.
Oh, it did?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Wait, let me see.
Yeah, it says I'm offline.
Okay, wait, so I'm just playing this from
Yeah.
the beginning?
Yeah, you can play from the beginning. Let's just get the gist of it. Let's watch a little bit of it collectively and then. I can hear it.
Let me cut
Here we go.
the TV down. 'Cause it don't need to be this loud. What's going on, y'all? I want to talk to you about some stuff. And it's been on my heart, so I want to speak on it. All right. Good evening. Hope everybody's doing amazing. I've been speaking to my brother about making a declaration of my experience. What I experienced with certain powers that be that were moving inappropriately. And I really, like, it's in my bone marrow to discuss that, because thankfully God built me the way that he built me, but I'm not sure, based on this person's claims and brags, that he's literally got, at the same time this person was harassing me for years.
For years. Oh, wait, what happened? Where'd you go? Oh, no. Christian Keys is like, I'm not going to be playing tonight. I'm not going to be playing tonight. Oh, there it is. Can we fast forward through this?
Okay, let me just download this so I can.
So you can have it.
So it's not just like in this random.
Christian Keys is having a hard time playing. And I honestly feel like it's like an L. Con Hubbard situation. Not even just L. Con Hubbard, but I feel like whenever we're talking about something, whatever, that's maybe going to be a little bit of a, eye-opening experience. I feel like there's always some type of technological issue that we end up dealing with. And I would say that it is.
I don't need to
because
come
oh, here it is.
up to your apartment. We already
I can't even
had
hear
the
it.
condition. There's other people that I want to say everything, and my brother was like, nah.
Me
not
too.
yet. I want to tell it on the mountain, over the hills, and everywhere. I want to speak on it. And the good news is that they don't even have to believe me. Hopefully they would, but even if they don't, they can hear this person. Since harassment started, I've carried many recorder devices on me, keychains,
Wow.
pens, thumb drives with a charged battery that get 6, 7, 8 hours, all the above. So I have the conversations. I really
has the
wanna air
conversations.
that shit out, because it bothers me when I'm alone at night. Like, man, the world is celebrating this person and they don't even know the shady and predatory way in which this person moves.
Right?
And
I mean, that's just how I feel regularly. And I feel like a lot of survivors feel like that, specifically when it comes to Hollywood, specifically when it comes to the entertainment industry, because they're these public figures. You see everyone else, seeing them one way, and the harm that they've done. You know what they're like when they're not on a red carpet, when they're not seen on an IMDb, when they're not just like a Wikipedia page or whatever, a Google image. You know the harm that they're doing, like P. Diddy, for example. And that's another thing that I keep getting very upset about, is that you have to remember there are so many bystanders in Hollywood. So many. And remember, when it came to the Zoe 101 episode, specifically that I talked about when it came to the Goop Hop, right? You had a prop person there. You had the DP there. You had the staff of writers. You had parents that were around. You had, makeup, hair, lighting, grip. I mean, crafty. So many people, so many bystanders. And the reason why bystanders don't feel, especially in those specific environments, that they don't feel like it's safe for them to do anything is because in Hollywood and also elsewhere, survivors and bystanders that speak up are then seen as whistleblowers when it comes to predators. And the predator network, there's literally a predator network. I swear to God, I've seen it. There's a predator network. They literally will let each other know that that individual cannot be trusted because that person will snitch. That person will end up telling another person who tells another person, and then they could get caught. They could possibly go to jail. And the list goes on. And so that is, people are always like, well, where were the parents? Listen, first of all, some people don't even know what the fuck is happening, okay? There are some people, when it comes to very subliminal ABUSC, some people don't see the whole picture. But then you also have to remember that these people are on these individuals' payroll. And that is why the imbalance of power needs to be called out more and more and more and more. Because no one can do the right thing. Consent is not real even, necessarily, when it comes to an incredibly imbalance of power. It's impossible. Because how can you say that if that power didn't exist, would you still feel the same way? If your job wasn't at risk, if that person wasn't your boss, etc. It plays a huge role in everything. And predators know that. They punish specifically so word gets around. Like, don't say anything. Don't say anything because you'll get fired. No. Yeah, I lost my job last summer, blah, blah, blah. Like, don't say anything, just let it slide. Like, is it really worth it? And then some people end up going to HR, and guess what HR does? You know what fucking HR does? HR everywhere in Hollywood, they legit just put an NDA down and go, it's in your best interest and our best interest to sign an NDA and also make it that if you violate this NDA, it's forced arbitration. And let's just wash our hands of this. And I know of NDAs that literally have these companies on the NDA, which, by the way, when it comes to crimes, like he said, SH, not legal, okay? Not legal. These companies, these corporations in the music industry, in Hollywood, in the entertainment industry, these companies are on the NDAs of crimes, which, by the way, it's not even technically valid for an NDA to cover up a crime. That's not even, it's all psychological, culty shit, Hollywood. That's all it is. Predators like to put this whole psychological thing. Oh, if you speak out, this will happen. This will happen. You'll get a $50,000 violation fine for this. No, you cannot cover up crimes ever. But these corporations are doing that. And I want to remind people that these same corporations that I'm talking about, which there are a lot of them, they also put in the NDA agreements that these survivors cannot even talk to their therapist about it. So they even block the survivor from healing. And it's not just the predators. It's HR. It's HR, and it's these incredibly powerful institutions, record labels, studios. Yeah, they're covering up crimes. I've seen it. This is not hearsay. It isn't. And I'm not the only one. There are so many. So many. And so this is what happens. This is what happens. And guess what also happens to these survivors when they go, and bystanders, by the way. and bystanders, when they go to HR and they make these complaints about these alleged predators, whatever, the studio or the record label will have them sign NDA, and the bystander and the survivor will sign these NDAs in hopes of keeping their job, because they feel like if they show the company that they're willing to keep this private and blah, 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 that they'll be able to keep their job. No. Guess what happens? These survivors and bystanders get fired anyways. They get fired anyways, and then they can't even talk about what happened because of the NDA. So they can't go, look at what this, let's make an example, Sony for fun. Sony or Warner Music Group, just for fun, let's say it's them, right? They can't, these survivors, these bystanders can't even say, this is what happened. This is what happened to me. I lost my job because of this. Because they're tricky like that. They get them to sign these NDAs, manipulate them into thinking it's going to help keep their job, etc. No, they fire them anyways. That's Hollywood. So when you hear about that enough, what makes you want to come forward and protect a survivor or protect hostile work environments when you see all of your friends getting fired even after they sign NDAs or do the right thing and go to HR? No one is going to want to do the right thing because Hollywood, specifically, just from my own personal experience, punishes anyone who does the right thing. And it's been happening forever. Forever. You lose your career. You lose your voice, too, with these NDAs. You lose your voice. You lose your voice. And so to see Christian KEYES, you know, yeah, okay, he's not saying who it is yet. He apparently is going to the police about this. Here he is. But how brave, regardless. You can tell he's like, I'm going in. Like, I know that feeling. I've been there with my open letter. I've been in his same shoes where you just sit down and you're like, I'm going. It's a major move. Should we play a little bit more? Let's see what else he has to say, and then we'll
way
wrap it up.
that, you know, predators resent the prey that gets away. So when you don't say yes, when you don't say, okay, I'll acquiesce and, you know, sign up and literally and figuratively play ball, because we're not doing that, they resent you.
And let me actually clean that up a little bit. Because so just to clarify for survivors, him saying, you know, even the ones that didn't say yes, there are survivors out there that were coerced into saying yes. So I want you to hear that and not get triggered and think to yourself, you know, because he doesn't, I don't think, understand the many different layers, obviously, of prey and how they operate. And for him specifically, he was able to just completely get out of that situation and reject. But you must remember that it isn't always like that. And that doesn't mean that you're not a survivor. And that doesn't mean anything else. So I just want to remind every viewer here who goes, oh, this ended up happening this way. Don't worry. Don't worry. He just doesn't, he's saying it about his isolated experience, and I just don't want any survivor to get triggered while they're listening to him. But let's continue.
This is a conversation we're going to have, and we're going to have soon, because it bothers me in my spirit that I can forgive people. That's one thing. But yeah, P, we don't play ball. That's my brother in there.
You can see he's like kind of nervous. Like just a little bit like, if I say this, if I say that. And yeah, trigger warning. Like, if I say this, if I say that. Like, you can tell he's even tiptoeing around this because, you know, he ends up basically stating that it was, I guess some of it was an actual business meeting where he was looking for, I guess, investors or something like that. And this is where these things were happening. And apparently like late night table readings, which by the way, I just want to say the powerful individual that I'm very suffer PTSD from, and very scared. You know, this was my boss. These are in work environments. These things are happening in broad daylight. In broad daylight, you know, these individuals in positions of power are being allowed and enabled to continue to do these things. Because sadly, guess what? I'm not the only person. Different story, different stories. But I even found out through talking about it a little bit here and there to certain people, there are more. And that is because they felt safe to. And what a beautiful world it would be if survivors felt safe to tell the truth. Because predators for a long time feel super safe to harm people, to ABUSE them. What a different world it would be when survivors feel safe. And people like Christian KEYES, people like Cassie, you know, even survivors in here, even you, I think even survivors talking with one another in this community, right? This is how we're creating a new world where survivors are feeling supported in the same way that the, you know, predators have been supported. All this support by the community, and they're building these communities that are enabling their horrific behavior. And that's Hollywood in a nutshell. That's all I saw in Hollywood was bullshit, honestly. It's a lot of bullshit. And there's some good people, of course. There's good people everywhere. It's not like the whole entire set, you know, is chaos. But what's scary about these set dynamics, that it only takes one predator to fuck the whole thing up. Because what happens is one predator is acting, you know, in a way that's so horrific, criminal actually, and they get away with it because of the power dynamic that happens on set. And then you got the studio that's wanting to make money off of the predator. And then, you know, they're protecting that. And then, you know, everyone's staying quiet about this. And then some people aren't even noticing. And this happens all the time, even with AMC. I think AMC is being sued right now. And Brian Freeman is representing the alleged predator for that case as well. And they were talking about how AMC was aware and AMC wasn't doing anything allegedly. And, you know, this is what happens in Hollywood. And this was after the Me Too movement.
The morning show kind of depicts this perfectly.
100%. The morning show, yeah, shout out honestly to the morning show, because it really does show how all of that works. And I think what people don't talk about that the morning show definitely showed was there are people that actually believe that, you know, the predator is a good person. They're like, they think the relationship is real with them. And they don't understand that they are also prey. And when they have to find out that this person, this predator that they were actually very close to and didn't see that side of them or didn't see their real side of them, has to face that, there's a lot of trauma around that. Like a lot of people have a very hard time. Topher, hi. There's people, you know, family members, etc., that have to deal with, oh, wow, this person was also manipulating me. And, you know, people have their own journey in that. And I think in the morning show, it kind of shows that with Jennifer Aniston, like she's pretty problematic at times. But you do see, at least, that I haven't seen often enough, is where you see how bystanders, friends, etc., are having to realize, you know, and come to terms with the fact that this person isn't good. It's not who they thought. And survivors also have to deal with that. We have actually more in common than, you know, bystanders would like to think, or friends of these predators would like to think. We have a lot in common in the sense where a lot of survivors saw that same side too before they were brutally blank, okay? We saw that too. And imagine how we feel, you know, because sometimes our walls go down because the predator love bombed us or showed us, you know, this charming, you know, version of themselves. And then we get harmed. And so, you know, bystanders need to understand, if they fully understand that they are also prey, that's when I think I'm going to see more bystanders, et cetera, understanding how to operate in these settings. That's when I think it will start to change, because it's the enablers, it's the bystanders that need to fully grasp the severity of this. And it's not just, I wish we had the 5 layers to pull up actually. But like I like to say, it's, you know, there's 5 layers a survivor has to go through. And it has to go through the enablers. It has to go through the alleged predators. Then it has to go through media. And then it has to go through lawyers. And then it has to go through the institution. And remember, everything underneath the institution is covering up for the institution. The institution is like the fucking Catholic Church when it came to the priests. Hollywood is like the Catholic Church, there it is, on steroids. Like legit on steroids. Josh, Alexa, if I don't see you for the rest of this week, I'd wish you and your family a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I'll see you in 2024. Besides, I need a vacation. Josh, have a beautiful holiday season. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much. We'll see you super soon. So yeah, these are the layers. These are the layers. Survivors are on the bottom. You got the enablers, which are usually, you know, agents, for example, managers, and then alleged predators. Then you got the media, then you got the lawyers, then you got the institutions. And the survivor is all the way on the bottom and has to go through all of that on their road to justice. It's a monolith. It's a monolith. And every single layer that's underneath the institution is the one that is covering up and protecting the institution. And that's what people don't understand. It's not just the enablers that are a problem. It's not just the alleged predators. This is what's all protecting the institution. So enablers think they're protecting the individual predator. No, 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 no. You're not. You're actually protecting these really predatory corporations, really predatory institutions, predatory capitalism, etc. That is what's being protected. And they actually prey. The institutions are actually the head of the predator. They actually prey on the naivety of these bad apples. You know how people go, oh, there's a P. Diddy. Oh shit, there's, you know, Jamie Foxx, and oh, here's Harvey Weinstein, and oh, Diplo and Milosh, and the list goes on. And the institutions like to say, oh, it's just a bad apple. We'll kick him to the curb if he gets found guilty, or, you know, whatever. Bad apple. No, no, no. The reason why you're seeing so many is because they're being protected by a very, very, very extreme predator, which is the institution. And that makes money off of these individuals that are not good. And it's just a system. It's a predatorhood. The predatorhood. I never even thought of it like that. Yesterday I called it predator supremacy. Today I'm calling it predatorhood. But it is. And they all protect each other. And it's just this predator web, and it does exist. And that's why we need to change that. Survivors need to start feeling empowered and safe to come forward like Christian KEYES did. Topher, you were adorable as a kid, and you're beautiful, kind, wise, loving, and intelligent as an adult. Aw, those in your inner circle are lucky to have you. Thank you so much, Topher. That's so kind. Thank you so much for being here. So, you know, I do recommend, if you have time to listen to Christian KEYES, I'm very, very curious what is going to, you know, come out when it comes to who are these 2 billionaires. And, you know, I would just like to say I'm not surprised, sadly, that, you know, this happened to Christian KEYES. This is all too common in Hollywood. I am here currently sitting on my own trauma with a very powerful Hollywood figure. And, you know, it is too common. And there are so many survivors still silent because we don't feel safe to say, because of the imbalance of power and the power dynamic. And so, you know, we'll see. We'll see who it is. I mean, even when I was looking into Tyler Perry, though, I didn't get a good vibe necessarily from the guy, from what I was reading, someone who's not into unions, etc. You know, there was this SH lawsuit on his studios prior. And you have to remember that just because we don't know about something when it comes to someone, you have to remember HR and NDAs and these powerful people. Like even we learned this about Diplo, for example, and his arbitration in that Pitchfork article. You know, these individuals have the resources to pay someone like an arbitrator $36,000 a day to silence their reported survivor. This is extreme, right? This is real bad. It's not just ABUS, Psi, and G, the survivor. It's also the resources that these predators have to silence them and make sure that no one knows about it. So that's where I'm at today. How is everyone feeling? What do we think? I guess one in the chat if you're thinking it's Tyler Perry. Two in the chat if you're not feeling like it's Tyler Perry. Now remember, he said that it was a billionaire. 2 billionaires specifically. And I remember also looking that up when it came to Tyler Perry. And Tyler Perry is a billionaire. So it's all so weird. Like, again, this is, I don't know. We're all just speculating here. But it is very peculiar, and I have my spidey senses up. Okay, 1. Grace said, okay, we got 1. We got 1. 2. Okay, Meredith. 1. I'm very 1, but like a 1.5. I'm with you. I'm actually kind of a 1.5 too. I'm 3. I don't know. Yeah, I feel like I'm a 1.5 where I'm just kind of feeling like, yeah, and of course it can be. And I just wonder who the other person is. He did do a hint that really did narrow down who the billionaire was, the other individual, which his name is like, was it Robert Smith? I think it is. I'm pretty positive it's Robert Smith. My internet's not even working, but I don't know if it's Robert Smith. But that I looked up that too, and I was like, oh, interesting. Like he did give hints enough for people to kind of make their own speculations, obviously, but we don't know. And either way, it is really powerful to see these individuals coming forward, speaking their truth to power. And it is inspiring survivors out there to possibly come forward about things that they're holding inside, like me. And so survivorhood is powerful. Is my mom saying yes? My mom's like, I'm not even putting 1 or 2. I'm just saying yes. Love you, Mom. You're amazing. There's a 3. I don't know. Well, we'll see. And, you know, we did this last time when it came to, what was the last one we were trying to figure out? Oh, it was Jonathan Majors. And, you know, he was found guilty. This is, and by the way, I'm hearing in the fields of survivors, there is a lot more coming. There's a lot more justice coming. Justice is brewing. There are things that I'm hearing that are going to shake up all of the survivor community, Hollywood community, etc. These windows, these look back windows, when it comes to California and New York, just wait, you guys. It's about to get a lot more revealing after the holidays. So power to survivors. And thank you all for being here tonight. Thank you for, you know, listening. And, you know, just this community is so wonderful. What do we got going on tomorrow? Oh, Melanie. Melanie is tomorrow. We're going to go through the ins and outs of the Britney Spears abusive conservatorship, which I'm really looking forward to speaking with Melanie. She's so awesome. And then Thursday, Thursday's actually a call to action. So Thursday, I'm going to be doing just a sign making community experience with everyone where we can all make signs when it comes to BASSNECTAR's upcoming show. And we have action steps. So I thought maybe we can go live for a few hours. We can do the action steps together. We can get creative and make protest signs. And so Thursday is going to be a hangout. I'm actually going to be, I think, at home for this. So we'll be hanging out. My husband and I are going to be making signs. You guys can be making signs. Yeah. That was it. That was very fitting. I'm going to be at home. Like, it sounds good, honestly, to me. We're going to be making signs. We're going to do the action steps, call the venue, do the emails, etc. And so this will be a call to action on Thursday. So please be there and do this with us. And we'll be hanging out in the Discord as well as the YouTube. And so let's do it. Thursday is going to be a call to action. We're going to do the action steps. And yeah, and then it's the holidays. You guys are so amazing. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being you. And
Thank you for all the gifted memberships today.
yeah, and all the gifted memberships today and the super chats and just everyone supporting and building this. Like, thank you so much. You have no idea how much this means to me, and forever grateful for this community. And so all have a beautiful night. And I will see you tomorrow for Brewing Justice. And you guys are the best. Good night, you guys.